Hello, Gurudas. Thank you for joining us today. Let's start with some fundamental question to understand your experience with Java and Spring Boot. So the first question is, what is Spring Boot and how does it differ from traditional Spring framework?
Sure. Spring Boot is an extension of the Spring framework that simplifies the setup and development of new Spring applications. It eliminates the need for specifying boilerplate configuration, provides embedded servers like Tomcat, and offers production-ready features such as health checks and metrics. Unlike the traditional Spring framework, which requires extensive configuration, Spring Boot aims to reduce development time and increase productivity.
That's perfect. Can you explain the concept of dependency injection in Spring?
Sure. Dependency injection is design pattern used to implement inversion of control, allowing for better decoupling of code. In Spring, dependency injection can be achieved through constructor injection, setter injection, or field injection. This promotes loose coupling, easier testing, and better maintainability of the code base.
What are the Spring Boot startup projects and why are they useful?
Spring Boot starter projects are set for convenient dependency descriptors you can include in your application. For example, Spring-boot-starter-web includes all the necessary dependencies to build a web application. They simplify dependency management and ensure that all the required libraries are included for specific functionality.
How does Spring Boot handle application properties?
Spring Boot uses application.properties or application YAML files to externalize configuration. These files can define properties like database connections, server ports, and custom application settings. Spring Boot also supports profiles, allowing different configuration for different environments, such as application-dev.properties for development and application-prod.properties for production environment.
What is the purpose of @Spring Boot application annotation?
At the rate Spring Boot application is convenience annotation that combines at the rate configuration, at the rate enable auto configuration, and at the rate component scan. It marks the main class for a Spring Boot application and enables auto configuration and component scanning, reducing the need for explicit configuration.
Can you explain the Spring Bean life cycle?
The Spring Bean lifecycle involves several stages: instantiation, population of properties, setting the application context, calling bean name aware and bean factory aware methods, applying bean post preprocessors, initializing bean via at the rate post construct or initializing bean, and finally destruction via at the rate pre destroy or disposable bean.
What is Spring Boot Actuator and how it is useful?
Spring Boot Actuator provides production-ready features such as health checks, metrics, and application information. It exposes endpoints that can be accessed over HTTP, JMX, or other protocols, allowing for monitoring and management of the application in production environments.
Okay, and how does Spring Boot handle exception handling?
Spring Boot provides several ways to handle exception handling using at the rate controller advice for global exception handling, at the rate exception handler for specific exceptions, and customizing error responses via error controller. This allows for consistent and centralized exception management.
What are Spring profiles and how are they used?
Spring Profiles allows you to segregate parts of your application configuration and make it available only in certain environments. For instance, we can have application hyphen dot properties for development environment and application hyphen prod properties for production environment. Profiles can be activated using the Spring dot profiles dot active property.
Explain the concept of Spring Boot auto configuration.
Spring Boot auto configuration attempts to automatically configure our Spring based application on the libraries on the class path. For example, if Spring Boot detects that Spring-boot-starter-data-jpa is on the class path, it automatically configures a data source and entity manager factory for us.
What is the difference between @component and @service? and @repository annotations in Spring.
Yeah. At the rate component is a generic stereotype for Spring managed components, whereas at the rate service is used for service layer component, and at the rate repository is used for DAO, that is data access object components. While functionally similar, at the rate repository adds additional feature like exception translation.
Can you explain the difference between array list and linked list in Java?
Sure, both array list and linked list implement the list interface, but they have different internal structures. Array list uses a dynamic array to store elements, providing fast random access but slow insertion and deletions. Whereas linked list uses a doubly linked list, providing fast insertion and deletions but slower random access.
Hmm. What is the singleton design pattern and how it is implemented in Java?
Yeah, the singleton design pattern ensures that a class has only one instance and provides a global point of access to it. In Java, this can be implemented by making the constructor private, providing a static method to get the instance of that class, and using synchronize keyword to make it thread safe.
What is the difference between double equal operator and dot equal method in Java?
Yeah. Double equal checks if two references point to the exact same object in memory, whereas dot equals method compares the actual content of the object. For example, two different string objects with the same value will return false with equal operators, whereas it will return true for the dot equal methods.
Okay. How does garbage collection work in Java?
Java's garbage collector automatically reclaims memory by removing objects that are no longer reachable. It uses algorithms like mark and sweep and generational garbage collection to efficiently manage memory. Developers can suggest garbage collection using system.gc method, but the JVM decides when to perform it.
What is the use of transient keyword in Java?
The transient keyword is used to indicate that a field should not be serialized. When an object is serialized, transient fields are skipped, which is useful for sensitive informations like passwords or for fields that can be derived.
What is the difference between hash map and concurrent hash map?
Hashmap is not thread safe and should not be used in concurrent environments. Concurrent hash map, on the other hand, is designed for concurrent access, allowing multiple threads to read and write without blocking each other.
What is the purpose of hash code method and equals methods?
The hashcode method provides a hash code that is used by hash-based collections like hashmap. The equals method determines if the two objects are considered equal. It's important to override both methods to ensure correct behavior in collections.
Can you explain the concept of Java memory model?
The Java memory model defines how threads interact through memory and what behaviors are allowed in concurrent execution. It specifies how and when different threads can see values written by other threads, ensuring consistency and visibility.
Okay. What is the difference between Spring and Spring Boot applications?
Spring is a comprehensive framework for enterprise Java development requiring extensive configuration, whereas Spring Boot simplifies this by providing defaults, embedded servers, and auto configuration, enabling developers to create standalone application with minimal setups.
Thank you, Gurudas. Your responses demonstrate a strong understanding of Java and Spring Boot concepts. We'll now proceed to the next stage of the interview. So HR will connect with you. I think I'm done with your interview. So all the best.
Thank you, sir. It was nice talking to you. Have a good day.